Good morning, YouTube. It's 10 a.m. in the great state of Texas, and we're just jumping right into the video because all the footage leading up to this, I completely lost. So if you guys saw the thumbnail, I'm sure you did, we are doing another firewood epoxy project. And we haven't done one of these in a long time, so if you thought I stopped doing these, you were sadly mistaken. So all we're doing here is getting some of my JB Weld and pouring that over our initial waste blocks, not really waste blocks, but our blocks of firewood here so that it adheses to the bottom so it doesn't float when the epoxy gets settled in there. So if you guys go back a couple of months ago, maybe like 4 or 5 weeks, we were doing like firewood project bowls, and we were doing pretty large ones. And I've kind of figured out the right proportion for my lathe of what size bowl blank that my lathe can handle. Even though we're always pushing the limit, decided to do a smaller project using this firewood because I absolutely love how firewood, this like just scrap, this is oak I think, firewood looks once we put epoxy over it. And decided, you know what, let's do a just a darkened black firewood mix kind of project for this one. So that's what we're doing in today's project, and the thumbnail looks amazing. I think this turns out really, really well. Was really happy how this overall kind of looks. So 4.5 hours later, after we got all the epoxy and everything mixed up in there, popped that right out, saved the bowl. Always love when that happens. And here we go. Got a bit of a giant divot where the epoxy didn't settle in, but overall really happy how the blank ends up setting up on this one. Really happy how it looks. So this was obviously done several months back when I was still using waste blocks. I've kind of gotten away from adhesing like pieces of pine board and then putting down the faceplate. Haven't had a lot of luck with that recently, so now I'm just putting the faceplate directly onto the blank itself and drilling that down. But this was done months ago, and actually I don't think it was like a month, it might be months ago. I don't even know when you guys are watching this video. So I think I ended up doing this project back in either August or September, and you guys might be watching this in October or November. Actually, I have no idea. That's what makes this channel so much fun. I pile up these projects, and who knows when they're going to get released. But anyway, back to the project. So getting the banjo, getting the tailstock and everything set up here, and all we're doing is taking off that material. Obviously, you guys saw that big gap on the side of the bowl where the epoxy did not set up, but not too worried about that. We're going to end up taking all that material off anyway. You can see there, we stopped the lathe a little bit just to see where we're at here. But probably doing a lot more of these projects now that I kind of gotten my, I have figured out how to do these projects a little bit better. But this is like almost the perfect size. It's still a little bit smaller than I would like, but overall I think it turns out really good. You can start seeing the grain of the wood just kind of pop out with that one. I'm doing the commentary today. It's like mid-September when I'm doing the commentary for this project. Like I said, I actually have a bunch of firewood that is drying out in my workshop here, and it's been 1,000 degrees in the state of Texas for the past like 50 plus days. So hopefully as it starts to cool off, I'm able to get in the shop and make a lot more of these projects, because they are kind of time consuming because you really want to take your time making these bowls. Because if you go back and watch the first time I started to make these type of bowls, all kinds of problems, but I've kind of perfected how to do it. So I've not become an expert, but I would say I'm a lot more capable than I used to be overall. But once we got this kind of, into the shape that we want, now we're just sizing up the mortise. Not a whole lot of problems here. Actually, I don't think I had any problems with this one. The great thing about when I do these video commentaries, I'll edit the video, come back weeks or months later to do the commentary. So I'm watching this for the first time just like you guys most of the time. But I don't remember a whole lot of problems here. We're just popping off this waste block, getting everything, ready to go. Flipped onto the chuck here, and then we're just taking off material. And then we're going to get everything nice and flat, and then we'll start the actual gouging portion for the project. But overall, I believe everything went really well. I just love how this black looks against this wood. If you guys go and watch Blacktail Studio, I think is his TikTok, and I think he has a YouTube channel. he always does like these. He's a table maker. I've never seen him make bowls, but he's a table maker, and he does epoxy tables using, exotic woods, and he always uses, for the most part, from all the videos I've seen, like black epoxy, and it looks really, really cool. So that's kind of the inspiration for today's project, was watching all his stuff. I like to watch his TikToks and his table making videos. If you guys want to watch a pro at just woodworking, go watch Blacktail Studio. It's amazing the stuff that guy is capable of doing. And maybe one day we will try an epoxy table, but I don't envision that happening anytime soon. I just don't have the know-how, the tools. Actually, I probably have the tools if I wanted to do it, but man, you really got to invest like some serious coin into the epoxy itself to kind of do something like that, because the amount of epoxy that you need to do like a good like table is kind of steep, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't imagine spending that much money on epoxy and then potentially screwing it up. And I guess, nobody starts off perfect, but I'm just like, I'm not at that point in my woodworking career where I'm like, hey, I'm going to go spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on epoxy and hope this works out the way I envision. But maybe in the future, we'll try maybe a smaller table and kind of go from there. It is aspirations of things I want to try later on in the channel. That's what makes woodworking so much fun for me, is just like doing something new. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But anyway, back to what we're doing here. Now we're just gouging it out. We're almost to a nice depth that we want. Actually, bam, now we're here. So this is what it looks like. All the wood shavings, everything all over the workbench and everything. Kind of pretty cool. Just a bird's nest of mess everywhere. But overall, looks pretty good. Really happy how this looks right now. And then we're going to get to my favorite part, which is, everybody knows my favorite part is sanding. You can't do woodworking without sanding, and I love sanding. So doing our typical all the way from 340 all the way up to 1500. No micro mesh on this one, and we're just getting everything sanded down nice and even. Then we're going to come back, hit it with that wood wax, because gosh, you gotta hit the wood. Gotta hit it with the wood wax, and you can just see the grain of wood just pop once you like wax up and hydrate that wood really well. Love how this looks. And in the future, if we ever do an epoxy table, it will be like a table like this, where it's just black epoxy and this wood. But it looks really cool. Love how this ended up turning out. I guess I didn't have a lot of problems with this one. This one looks really cool. Really happy how it turned out. Not a whole lot of problems here, and we're almost done. But man, you can see just the wood grain looks absolutely beautiful. I don't like the edges being so straight, but the next one will be a little bit more all over the place, so it'll look a little bit better. But overall, really happy how this turned out. Can't say enough good things about it. Anyway, we are not done making these bowl projects. So we've been doing nothing but pine and scrap wood. So this is just something a little bit different. So hope you guys are enjoying it. Hope you guys like the video. Here it is at the end. Looks absolutely fabulous. Love how this turned out. But hope you guys are liking it. We're not done making these bowls. There will be more in the future, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Okay, so project is done, and this one is gorgeous. So I know I keep saying about these like wooden bowls that I'm doing with the epoxy, that everyone is gorgeous and this is the best one I've ever done, but I really like how this black looks. That looks so cool. And this is, it's a lot smaller than some of the bowls that we've been doing, but I would love to do this one even bigger, because the wood grain on it came out. The video, I mean, the pictures in the video just don't do it justice. I wish you could see how it looks in person, but man, we got it to like a really good depth. Had virtually no problems with this one, but just looks absolutely stunning. Love the way this wood grain just pops on this black. The whole darkness of the wood grain and the epoxy just looks absolutely gorgeous. Love how this bowl turned out. So today is August 30th. You guys are going to watch this 2 weeks from now. So I got a 4-day weekend coming up, and I'm going to try to get a lot of these bowl projects done so that we have videos stacked so that I'm not having to rush in and do things last minute. But we're working toward just building the library like we did previously, but it's only 86 degrees now in the garage, so it's 9:45-ish right now, and it's still super duper hot. So hopefully once the weather starts to cool down a little bit here in Texas, we'll be able to do a lot more projects. So hopefully that's kind of the plan. Love how this one turned out. Going to be doing just a lot of other pine projects as well, but this one looks gorgeous. We just need to do it bigger, and I'm absolutely going to do it bigger and see how that one goes. So hope you liked it. Hope you got something out of it. Don't forget to subscribe. All that junk everybody always says. Love how this turned out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace.